Good morning, all of you. So today we are going to see arrays in C++. So first of all, we are going to cover basic concepts of array. So we start with an array. An array is a variable that can store multiple values of same type. So a basic definition of an array is it consists of elements of similar types. Suppose, consider for an example, we have a class 27 students and we need to store the grades of all of them. Instead of creating 27 separate variables, we can simply create a single array in the form of int grade of 27. So here we can see instead of creating or storing different values for 21 students using different variables, we are creating a single variable with the help of an array and storing the values on that single array. So here grade is an array that can hold a maximum of 27 elements of double type. You can change type to anything. Here you can change it to double. Double is also type of a data type. Can, as given in the example, it is int. So I'm writing int here. In C++, the size and the type of array cannot be changed after its declaration. So if you see, once we have declared the size of an array, this is the size of an array. Once we have declared the size, we cannot change the size in the further program. Okay. Even when we declare the type of the array, once it is declared, we cannot change it. Now here is an example of array declaration. So as you can see here, this is a syntax for declaring an array. We call it as a syntax. It is a structure of a syntax. It is a structure, or you can call it as syntax. So if you have to declare an array, you have to write first the data type of that array. Data type is the type of value the array is going to hold. Okay. Then we have to write a name of an array. You can write any name of an array. Okay. Then we have to give it size. How many or what number of elements it is going to be stored. Okay. So it will be the array size. Just consider for an example here we have int x of 6. Here int is a data type, x is the name of an array, and 6 is the size of an array. So 6 will say it is going to hold 6 number of elements. Okay, and x is the name of an array. We can also declare array just like float using different data type. Float, percentage of 100. So what this will do here, it will declare an array of size 100. That means it can hold 100 elements. Okay, and the name of an array is percentage, and the type of value it is going to be hold, it is floating values. That is, it will hold number in decimals. Next is accessing an elements in an array. So if you want to access any element in an array, it can be accessed with the help of this index, or the plural form of index is indices. As you can see here, each element in an array is associated with a number. Okay, so every element is associated with a number. The number is known as array index. We can access elements of an array by using those indices. So syntax for accessing the element is array of index. So first of all, we should know what is the name of that array. If we have an array named x, we can access any number of elements. So suppose I want to access the first element. So with the help of the name of an array and using the index, I can access the first element, that is x of 0. X is the name of an array and 0 is the index. Suppose I want to access the last element. So last element is at the index 5. So I can access it with the help of x of 5. So you can access any element with the help of indexes. Next is some important points you should remember. First is array indices always starts with 0. So meaning of x of 0 means the first element is stored at index 0. So you should always remember that whenever there is an array, its index will only start with 0. If the size of an array is n, the last element stored at the index n minus 1. So suppose if you have an array of size 5. So as we know, the array start from index 0. So the last element will be stored at index 4. So we call it that index as n minus 1, because the n is size of n is 5. So the 4 will be at n minus 1. In this example, x of 5 is the last element. So elements of an array have consecutive addresses. So when we see elements of an array, they are stored consecutively. Okay, they are stored in linear fashion, one by one. Suppose we have an address at 100. The address of first element is 100, and the size of each element of integer is 4 bytes. So the next element is going to be stored at 1004th location. Okay, according to its size. If one element is stored at 1000, it will require 4 bytes to get stored. So the next element will start from 1004, and next will be start from 1008, and then 12. In this fashion, it is going to be stored. So suppose we are starting address x of 0 at 2120d, then the address of the next element, that is x of 1, will be 2024d, and the address of x of 2 will be 2128d, and so on. So here the size of each element is increased by 4 because the size of int is 4 bytes. So next topic is array initialization. So if you see in C++, it is possible to initialize an array during declaration. For example, int x of 6. So here we are declaring an array of type integer. The name of an array is 6, and the size of an array is, the name of an array is x, and the size of an array is 6. And we are assigning some values to the array, that is 19, 10, 8, 17, 9, and 15. So while assigning the values, we are using a curly braces. So this value will be assigned as at x of 0, the value will be 19, x of 1, the value will be 10, x of 2, the value will be 8. In this fashion, the value will be assigned in the consecutive array locations. So here you can see at index 0, value is assigned 19, at index 1, the value is 10, at 2, the value is 8. So in this fashion, all the values are going to be stored in an array. So one thing you should have, you should keep in mind that the number of elements that can be inserted in this array will be equal to the size of the array. Okay, it should not be greater than the size of the array. Then there is another method to initialize array during declaration. Here if you can see, we have declared int x, and we are not giving a size of an array. So as you can see here, int x of, the size of the array is not declared, and we are inserting the elements in that array. So automatically, a 6 number of elements are inserted. So the size becomes here, size of an array becomes 6. So here, as you can see, you have not mentioned the size of an array. In such cases, the compiler automatically computes size. Now here is another example, C++ array with empty members. Now if you see in this example, we are declaring an array. The size of an array is 6, okay, x of 6, and we are inserting an element, storing an element, that is 3 number of elements. So the remaining 3 elements, it will be automatically get initialized with the 0. Okay, once we have not entered the values, so it will be entered or assigned 0. Okay, so the array x of has size 6. However, we have initialized it with only 3 elements. So in such cases, the compiler assigns value to the remaining places. Oftentimes, this random value is simply 0. Okay, so our next topic is displaying an array elements. So how you are going to display an array elements? Once you have declared an array, how are you going to display it? So we start with header files, that is hash include iostream.h. Next is using namespace std. So we are not going to include this namespace. Without namespace, it is possible to write the program. Then we have int main. Main is a function which is necessary to run any C or C++ program. Okay. Then we have int numbers. We are declaring an array named as number. Size of an array is 5. So it will consist of 5 numbers. We can assign values. So we are initializing the values as 7, 5, 6, 12, and 35. Now for printing the array, we are going to need a for loop. The for loop is going to repeat the same process again and again because we are going to access the elements using the index. So as you can see here, we are starting with the for loop for, this is initialization condition I equal to 0, that we are going to assign the value of I as 0, and next is a testing condition I is less than 5. If this condition is true, the code inside the for loop will get executed. As I is 0 and it is less than 5, the condition is true, so the code for the for loop will get executed. It will print numbers of I. Now number of I means number of 0. So the number at 0 location is 7. So 7 is going to be printed. Next time, the value of I will get incremented. Now the value of I will become 1. Now again it will be compared with I with 5. So now 1 is less than 5. This value again becomes true. So next number will be printed, that is numbers of 1. So number at the first location will be get printed, that is 5. 5 will get printed. In the next fashion, in the same fashion, I will increase, it will become 2. The value of number of 2 will get printed. So then value will get incremented up to 4. Once the value become 4, the last value get printed. And again the value of I will get increased. When it will become 5, we'll check the condition, that is 5 is less than 5. This condition become false, and so at that time this for loop will stop. Okay, so our result will be the numbers are 7, 5, 6, 12, and 35. This will be our answer. So we are going to run this program using the Turbo C compiler. So here we have Turbo C compiler, and we are going to write the program here. That is hash include stdio.h. Now this stdio.h, it is only used during a C program. So here we are, as we are writing a C+ program, we are going to include iostream.h. So this will contain input and output streams. Then we have to use a conio.h, hash include conio.h header files. Next thing is we are going to use a void main function. not int main, because int main will not work here properly in this compiler. That is why we are using a void main. Now we are going to declare an array. So we can declare an array using int, giving the name of an array as grades. Okay, and assigning some values. First declare the size. Suppose we are declaring size as of grade as 5. Now assigning values to it: 10, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 value are assigned now. Next, for printing the values. Now look, if we are going to print only grades, what will happen? See out grades. Okay, now we'll check. Next line we have written grades. Get ch. Get ch is used to hold the screen, output screen. So actually this program is not correct. The line see out grades, we have to change the line, because as we are printing the array, we cannot print it directly. We will be going to be used a for loop for printing. Just for checking purpose, I have written cout grades. Okay, let's compile the program. First save the program. Save as. I'm going to save it as episode 2 cpp. So .cpp must be the header files of that cpp program. Now compile the program. As you can see, there is no error in the program. Now run. Now see, we have written the grades. We are printing just grades. Now we are getting the value as 0 into 8F91FFEC. So the value here is, it consists of address of the starting element of an array. Okay. So this value is the address of an starting element of an array. That is the element at the 0 location. It is printing the address of that element. So what we have to do, we have to add the for loop for printing the values. Okay. So we are using a for I equal to 0. Okay. I should be less than 6, because total number of element is 5. So we are using less than 6. And lastly, I plus plus. Now we are creating a block of that for loop for printing. Now here, as we have written C out grades. So we are going to write /n. Just wait. /n. /n will be going to be print our numbers, that is our list, one on every line. Okay, one element on each line. So now grades consist of an array. So we have to write the counter here, grade of I. Now what will happen in the first step, when I is equal to 0 and I is less than 6, it is true. So it will print grade of 0. Okay. So at 0 location we have 10. It will print first value as 10. One is printed 10, it will going to increase the I, and second time it will print, it will get the value as I of 1. So we'll get grades of 1, that is 2. So it will print 2. So in this way it will print all the values in the grades array. So let us compile and check whether it is correct or not. So it consists of one error. Let us see what is the error. So it is giving us that undefined symbol I. So you should remember that whatever variable you are going to declare in the C++ program, you have to define, or you have to declare that variable first. Okay. So I'm declaring it as int of I. Now we are going to save this program and compile this. Now it doesn't contain any error. Run the program. So as you can see here, we have printed the values 10, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And last value is 0. So how come the last is 0? Now, as you can see here, when we run the program, we get the last value as 0. Now, what is happening is we are starting with for loop with 0 and running the program up to less than 6. That means it is going to print the value at 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. The fourth value should be the last, but we are going up to 5. So we need to change here. Okay, it should be less than 5. So I will start from 0. The index at the first location will be 0 and the index at the last location will be 4. So here we need to make a correction. Now we see we are going to compile the program. Okay, and then run. So now as you can see here, start with 10, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now you can see that what happens when we are going to increase the size of an I. Okay, it will automatically assign 0 value to it. So in this way, we have seen the working of a for loop or displaying the elements of an array. Okay. Okay. So this is another example. In this example, we are going to take inputs from a user and store them in an array. So the first program we have taken inputs directly in the program. Now we are going to take inputs for the array using keyboard. Okay. So in this program, as you can see, we'll start with the main function. In main function, we are declaring an array named as number, and type of an array is integer, that is int. The size of an array is 5. Okay, so it will consist of 5 numbers. Next is for printing any line of a screen, we are using a cout statement. Cout, then we have a insertion operator. Using insertion, we are entering the line as enter 5 numbers. And in the last, we are writing an end L. This means end of line. So the next statement will begin from the next line, from the new line. Now, once we have printed this line, for accepting the input from the user, we are going to use the for loop. Okay, the for loop will run from 0, that is I is equal to 0, up to I less than 5. That means it will start from 0 and it will accept the number up to 4. That means first will be 0, then 1, 2, 3, 4. Total 5 number will be accepted. And in the form of how to accept the number, we are going to use a cin statement. So cin, with the help of an extraction operator, we are accepting the number one by one as number one, first numbers of 0. The value of I will be 0. So numbers of 0, the first value will be getting stored in numbers of 0. Whatever the value we are going to store will be stored at the 0 location. In this way, the for loop again will get incremented. It will become 1 next time. And the next value, suppose we are going to store is 5. So it will be stored at first location. So total, it will accept 5 numbers of values. Once the values are inserted, to print the values again, we can use a for loop. So first we are writing a cout to print the statement as it is. And then for printing the values from 0 to 1, we are using again a for loop. We are using another variable, that is n. We are starting n equal to 0 and n less than 5. So we start with numbers of n. The value of n is 0. It will start at number of 0. So we already have number of 0, that is 7. So it will print number 7. Then it will increase the for loop. The value of n will be get incremented. It will become 1 next time. It will print the next value of the array, that is 5. Then again it will get incremented up to the loop condition become false. All the value will be get printed. So we are going to write this program. So we are back on a Turbo C++. I'm taking new file, new. First, I'm going to save as ep3 dot C++, CPP. Now we start with hash include. We are going to include header files, that is iostream.h. If you are using an online compiler, at that time we don't need a .h file. Okay, we are just writing iostream. This is not an online compiler. We are using a Turbo C++. So you have to include everything what you want. Next will be I include hash include conio.h. Next void main. Okay. So first of all, we are going to declare an array. So I'm declaring an array in numbers. Let us write 4. Size of the array is 4 and name of the array is number. Now we are printing over one line, single line. Okay, to know the user who is running the program that what should he must do. Okay, so enter 4 numbers. Now we will know, the user will know what he has to do. And line, for accepting the values we are going to use for loop for again int I equal to 0. It will start from 0 and it will run up to less than 4 because we are starting with 0 and ending at 3 plus plus next block of for loop. For loop is going to accept value, that is why we are going to use cin statement with the help of extraction operator, and number will be going to store at the arrays named number, the numbers of I. Okay. So as you can see here, we are accepted the values. The next thing is, this is for accepting the values from the user. Okay, so now we want to display the value. So again we are going to use another for loop. For we can use the same variable I equal to 0, or if you want to change the variable, you can change the variable. So you don't need int here. I equal to 0, I is less than 4, and I plus plus. Now we have to print, so we are going to write cout statement. Cout numbers of I. Okay, and now what this will do, it will include space between different numbers. Okay, so that is why I'm using a empty space between two opening commas, double quotes. Sorry, not commas, double quotes. Now we have finished this for loop here. One thing you should also know, you should properly use make of indentation. Okay, once you are writing a main function here, you should leave some gaps here. Then for loop, the opening and closing bracket should come on the same line. So it will be better to understand us if we left some brackets in between. So it will be easy to find the errors once we have used a proper indentation. Okay, so now we are missing main function block. So first we are going to write a get ch to end the program, and finally this bracket. Now save this program, file, save, compile. Okay, so it is error free. Now run the program. Okay, so here we are having enter 4 numbers. The previous values comes from the previous examples. So just leave as it is, and we are going to enter 4 numbers. Okay, 1, enter, 4, enter, 5, enter, and 8. Okay. So as you can see, we have entered the numbers, and when pressing enter, it will print 2, 4, 5, 8. So the array it will get printed. So to clear the previous value, we can include clear screen function clr-str. Okay, save the file, compile, and we'll run this. So previous value are cleared with the help of clear screen function. Again, just run the program. 23, 4. Okay, so it will print different values. So I think you should go with this program and try to make changes by yourself. Okay, so I'm stopping now here.